Hello, and welcome to the Aletheist. While I was at university, the general education requirement included a philosophy class. In it, we learned about universal doubt, a technique famously enacted by René Descartes to contemplate the verity of his convictions and to purify his beliefs of erroneous notions. I remember being deeply interested in the prospect of establishing a solid foundation of belief, and of building upon it every idea into a single, cohesive mental framework. Doing so would allow me to more capably assess the trueness of ideas. I would become less gullible, less susceptible to being deceived by myself and others, and with a stronger grasp of truth, I could more adeptly navigate this crazy world. The process started out strong with the famous proposition, "I think, therefore I am." With this statement, Descartes presented an elegant argument that confirmed the existence of consciousness. But then Descartes blundered in his very next move by invoking his Roman Catholic beliefs in order to validate his notion of God, and the rest of the treatise essentially boiled down to him trusting all his other beliefs because a Roman Catholic God would not lead him astray. Descartes' argument was obviously thin, even to my young self, and that's fine. He was, after all, from the 17th century. What soured me on the whole subject of philosophy was how, as a student, I was tasked with memorizing his flawed logic for the sake of a grade, and the rest of the course was much the same. Rather than grappling with the ideas of past philosophers, we students were tested on how well we could absorb and regurgitate them. Being taught philosophy that way seemed vaguely dogmatic. It was as if some authority decided that certain ideas from certain thinkers were inviolable, and to challenge them meant you were foolish or insolent. After that, I wrote off philosophy, as most do, as a subject that is broadly pedantic and frivolous. I gave up on the lofty goal of establishing the foundation of my beliefs, and I moved on from the naive idea of uniting them into a single cohesive mental framework. That is, until recently. The last video explained that this channel's primary motivation was, quote, the full disclosure of truth. With truth as its subject, everything in reality lies within the Aletheist scope of inquiry. To approach as vast a subject as reality itself, to construct a fully exhaustive paradigm, this channel cannot admit any assumptions. All prior notions must be examined. All concepts must initially be regarded as potentially erroneous, and all hope for restoring conviction in any of them depends on finding a way to substantiate knowledge. Therefore, the Aletheist will begin in universal doubt. Within this state of extreme skepticism, this video will make three propositions. The first two will confirm the existence of consciousness, the third will confirm the existence of nature, and the Aletheist will thereby define, quote, reality itself as the totality of these two domains. Essentially, the Aletheist holds that reality has an internal and an external component, consciousness and nature respectively. In other words, everything that exists pertains to nature, everything that can be experienced pertains to consciousness, and nothing meaningful qualifies beyond this fundamental dichotomy. This is because, as soon as something completely unprecedented happens, it then exists in nature, and as soon as something is completely novel is imagined, it is experienced as a thought in consciousness. The first proposition is simply Descartes' preeminent realization, Cogito ergo sum, or I think therefore I am. In short, no matter how much a thinking being doubts their own existence, being able to doubt consciousness, as a conscious act in itself, thereby proves its existence. What Descartes neglected, or merely deemed unnecessary, to add to this confirmation of consciousness, was the parallel proposition, Sentio ergo sum, or I feel, therefore I am. This is the second proposition that confirms the existence of consciousness. Likewise, following the former line of reasoning, no matter how much a feeling being doubts their own existence, being able to have sensory and emotional experiences as conscious acts proves that consciousness exists. Suffice to say, establishing the existence of consciousness represents the first step out of universal doubt. To be clear, nothing can yet be claimed about the qualities of consciousness, not its origin or essence or mechanisms or fate, but it is enough to qualify that conscious perceptions and conceptions are undoubtedly happening, and this grounds the internal half of reality. Proving the existence of the external half of reality, i.e. nature, can likewise be accomplished within universal doubt. The reasoning proceeds by examining the content of conscious thoughts and feelings. Whether doubting the verity of belief, or perceiving the texture of a, quote, ball of wax, or performing any other conscious act, it is impossible to doubt that there is an external contribution to consciousness. In other words, there must be something that exists to be conscious of. Even if an evil demon was tricking every conscious being into feeling and thinking various things that did not actually exist, the evil demon would itself represent that external influence. And likewise, if a, quote, benevolent God was specially designing and implementing every conscious experience. Or even if consciousness was only a brain in a vat, or a simulation in a computer program, the vat, or the program, would still represent that external component of reality. However, nature might not be so cruel as to be populated by evil demons. It might not be so wonderful that there exists an almighty being that lovingly administers its creations. Nature might not in fact be a large steaming vessel of bobbing brains, nor a cosmic string of binary code, entirely deluding conscious minds about their condition within it. Instead, it could be that external reality exists more or less as it appears. Some phenomena are more easily comprehended and some are less, and the sensations, emotions, and thoughts that comprise consciousness are somewhat fallible and somewhat reliable in discerning them. But all that is yet to be determined. Whatever the nature of nature is, it remains the case that something exists to produce conscious experiences, however warped they might be. Therefore, the third, necessary, and final proposition to realize within universal doubt is Sentio et cogito ergo natura est, or, I feel and I think, therefore nature is. Once again, nothing can yet be claimed about the qualities of nature, not its origin or essence or mechanisms or fate, but it is enough to qualify that something is happening to induce conscious experiences. In the deepest universal doubt, the Aletheist thereby makes the distinction between internal and external reality, between consciousness and nature, respectively, and it asserts that these two domains are undeniable and that nothing qualifies beyond them. To recap, the Aletheist defines, quote, reality as the sum of everything that exists, as well as everything that can be experienced. Reality incorporates the independent external phenomena of nature, as well as the internal, subjective, and cognitive activity of consciousness. With this broadest dichotomy established, the Aletheist will continue by asking, what exactly is real? Thank you for listening. Please like the video if you agree with the ideas presented in it, subscribe to the channel if you believe in the rational worldview and its potential, and comment if you have questions, suggestions, compliments, or critiques about the content.